Happy Halloween! So, in celebration of Halloween, today I'd like to share with you the scariest ballroom dance class I have ever taken. So, this was at a ballroom dance camp. And if you've seen my other videos, you know that I highly recommend these. I've always had positive experiences. They run these either independently, where you just fly in somewhere and you take a week's worth of workshops, private lessons, etc., with high-level pros and a wide variety of dance styles and topics. Or sometimes at the larger competitions, they will run a ballroom dance camp immediately following the end of the competition, where you have an opportunity to take workshops with a variety of the judges that were judging that comp. So wonderful opportunity to learn. Anyway, not so wonderful for me on this particular day. One of the many classes I took when I was there that week was an advanced Lindy Hop class. So although not a traditional ballroom or Latin dance, there are elements of Lindy in open quick step, and it is kind of a sister community dance to ballroom and Latin, meaning most of us who are experienced ballroom and Latin dancers can also do other styles like single time, swing, country two-step, Lindy Hop. And in this group class, there was approximately 60 other people there. And there was someone teaching the class who was very well known nationally in that community, very well known professional. And he was teaching away. It was the first day of class. He, in rapid succession, covered about 10 figures. And they were all quite complex and covering the patterns, the technique, etc. And a woman in the class raised her hand and very politely said, "Sir, I'm sorry, I'm not understanding anything you've said so far." And his response to her, instead of being compassionate, was immediate rage. And he literally chose to publicly shame her. And his response was very curtly and loud, "Well, if you don't understand what I have just said, clearly you don't belong in this class." I was somewhat stunned, and the whole room was aghast. And here's the crazy thing, guys. None of us could keep up with the guy. None of us had a clue what he was talking about. She was just the only one brave enough to raise her hand and speak up to benefit us all, because we all wanted to learn. And it was a great learning experience for me as a professional, because by this time I was a teacher, to be compassionate for my students and to know, hey, they might be way behind me, and to be sensitive when people ask a question and respectful in my response. And also to understand it could be tip of the iceberg, meaning if one person expresses, hey, this doesn't quite make sense to me, there very well could be 50 other people in the room who are equally gobsmacked and confused by what I'm saying. And if I dismiss someone and don't answer their question, I could be doing the whole room a great disservice. So not only did he do us all a great disservice, but we silently detested this person as a human being for the rest of the camp. I think most of us probably dropped out of his class, and we were just appalled. And I know many of us reflected this in the end of camp kind of summary. We did synopsis on our reviews of each class and instructor. So that was definitely the worst group ballroom dance class I have ever taken. Though I can say, as a professional, those bad lessons have been just as much learning experiences as the good ones, because it teaches me what not to do. And I would much rather learn from someone else's mistake than from making that mistake on my own. Okay, so number 2, My other equally bad taking a group class dance experience was a West Coast swing group class. And again, this is not a traditional ballroom dance, although sometimes you'll see this as a fun dance offered in ballroom dance competitions. So you might see it there. But this group class, I didn't understand a thing the guy was saying. And he was a very well-known, successful competitor. So this whole class, I'm thinking, okay, I'm an idiot. I clearly am outclassed in this class. I should not have taken it. I guess I belong with beginners. I don't know. I thought I knew this class. I don't understand what we're doing. I can't remember the pattern. It's too complicated. And I left feeling so disappointed in myself and embarrassed that I couldn't keep up. And I did not ask because I felt like, well, perhaps I'm going to hold the class back, so I'll just do my best here. And at that point, I was a professional dancer, so probably the other students in the room didn't notice I was struggling, but I definitely struggled to keep up, which is unusual for me. And later, I found out, long after that class, that this professional had like no clientele and had a huge challenge building any privates, any regular group class whatsoever, because no one understood what the guy was saying. And so he couldn't cultivate clientele. So what I learned from that experience is that being an amazing dancer and a competent, accomplished dancer is a whole different animal than being an effective teacher. And you shouldn't assume that you are able to teach well just because you can do it well. And for this same reason, I tend not to take from people who have just recently turned pro. Not that they don't have an amazing wealth of information in their pocket, but they don't know how to share that. It's almost like being mute until they kind of learn to teach that first few years. So anyway, great learning experience for me, even though I learned absolutely nothing in the class and felt like an idiot. That was my other very negative, shameful, scary group class experience. So I hope that's been interesting and helpful for you. I'd be super curious as a teacher myself to hear what your worst group class experience was and why that was. I think that would be insightful for other ballroom dance fans who watch this channel, and also super helpful for me because I'm a ballroom dance teacher and I always want to cultivate the most positive learning experience that I can, whether that's in a group or a private lesson. So I would love that. Please comment below. Tell me your worst ballroom dance group class experience. And happy Halloween, guys. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.